welcome to today's episode of Coffee Break, and today I'm here in the Defiance Gallery in Newtown to catch up with my friend Anita Johnson. Now, I haven't seen Anita for 12 years and I'm quite gobsmacked by what she's up to now. So we're on Enmore Road, Newtown. There's a lot of traffic and a lot of people going by, so I hope you'll bear with me. And I hope you enjoy today's program.
Oh, that's good.
This is a weary implement of whack, this one, and it's got quite a sense of humour about it. I had an idea to make a work from lots of tennis rackets, so they're all cut and pieced back together to make it look as if the tennis racket has lost its form. This work is called Artist. I made this work a little bit about the experience of being an artist. So the eyes are replaced with memory recall buttons from a calculator. Artists are very visual memory people, and they're also very self-critical, self-aware. So I've put him standing on top of himself and himself on his chest. Inside the box there's archive of art history on little scrolls, and the work also features different aspects of an artist's life: a paintbrush, a spoon, looking for a penny. These are more of my works in the show. This one is called The Gardener, and modelled him out of clay, and he's fired to a really, really high temperature so that he turns into stone. These are little mythical garden features. Yes, he's got a strange garden, this man. This work is called Houston, I Am Not Reading You, and the work speaks about a state of mind or a state of emotion of being insular. This copper I've used for insulating the figure inside, and this one reads the OMS, or the energy of the figure. So I guess that this work has a spiritual reading. And I've carved tiny little figures inside the little towers. This work is one of my favourites in the exhibition. It's called Revolution, and the work is a play with materials, but it's also a play on words. Revolution as in momentum, but revolution as in a political upheaval. So this bowling ball would normally get thrown down a green and not have anything to say about it, but it's grown its own arms and it definitely has its own will now. So a game becomes political statement. I quite like this one.
This is about the sort of, to me, it's about the passion of art, and the fact that you actually live with art. And it doesn't have to be about a great deal of money, it just has to be about pieces and things that you like. And I think that if you're an artist, you use your living space like you use your studio. And it's all about placement, and it's all about visual and visual information. These are, when I was young, my father was working in New Guinea and always used to bring me back New Guinea artefacts from the age of, I think I was about 7 or 8. And that sort of influence has always stayed with me, and I've got quite a few pieces that I collect, I'm very passionate about the Aboriginal stuff, but only the personal belongings and stone tools. As you can see, some of these artefacts here, and you've got some resin, and when they've found steel, and these are some early ones without just some resin and stone tools. Some Aboriginal dance feathers, and I'm passionate about Australian bush furniture, and this is depression furniture, and this was one of my early works, and as you can see, it's probably why I've connected to Anita's work, is that once I worked in that way, I don't think as finely as Anita, but I at least understand all the mechanics that go with it. So my collection and the things that I collect are really about interest, and I've got an interest to do with Indian miniature paintings, so I collect those. These are mainly New Guinea, but there are some African pieces in there. These are all stone axes that I've collected. A lot of these things that are from auction houses or dealers, things that I find in the bush, if it hasn't been destroyed, I leave in its state and don't take anything from it. These are, just favourite paintings of artists that we show, and some we don't. There's Elizabeth Cummings, Peter Powdage. I grew up with toy soldiers and found a man that collects them, Robin Yates, and decided to buy one band, but it grew a little bit and I have a few more. Lauren really is passionate about the butterfly collections, and that's one of her joys of collecting. But it's also about placement of works and the relationship between objects and other things. And some people sort of, feel it's like it would be a bit difficult sort of sleeping in a room like this, and might be a bit of a nightmare and a bit spooky, but I certainly don't. I've been in other places that seem to be a lot more spookier than this one. So virtually, I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you for a tour of your bedroom. It's amazing.
That's a pleasure. Alfred said I was a minimalist. I just needed 36 houses to be minimalistic in. G'day. My name's Campbell Robertson Swan. I'm the owner and director of Defiance Gallery, and with my partner Lauren Harvey, who's not too sure of cameras. And I'd like to welcome you to the exhibition of Anita Larkin, and to tell you that this is actually being filmed partly in my bedroom where we're at the moment. You might see a little bit more of the house as the program progresses. I'd like to just say that really proud to have or to be showing Anita, and I've always been impressed with Anita's work, and I've been showing Anita for some time in group shows, and now really proud to have her one-man show, her first one-man show in Defiance. I've seen a lot of artists working in this type of medium, but none as successfully as well as Anita does. Some of these implements that you'll see and some of the art pieces and sculptures that you'll see are so well put together, almost like seamless, and the tools for forgotten purpose actually look as though that they have a function. We're just talking about the tools for forgotten purpose. I think that in that on this show that they really are my favourites, and I've been now showing the exhibition for a month and growing even fonder of those particular works. All of them are put together with such a real feel for the materials that she's working with, and also has a really genuine attachment to the objects, and it has a story which she draws from. And I'd just like to say again, look, welcome to the show. I hope you really enjoy it. It's a pity that you're only watching it on video, but if you see Anita again and have the opportunity of seeing her show in the reel, believe me, do so. And I'd just like to thank Anita for showing.
Okay. So, Gable, have you been a gallery owner for long?
Now 13 years, coming on 14 years.
And you're on Enmore Road, Newtown?
Yeah, 47 Enmore Road, Newtown. And it's a small gallery, but we do a lot, and we have a lot of shows outside of this gallery.
And it's a very busy place, and there's a lot of traffic past the door, isn't
Too much, and this is the bedroom, and you know how noisy that is. So we'd rather be in a leafy suburb, but that's life.
And you're an artist yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a sculptor, and we'll be showing in Sculpture by the Seas in Denmark in August, I think it is. Just finished showing Sculpture by the Sea in Cottesloe, and this is really, I suppose, the major sculpture gallery in Australia. It's small, but we have the leading sculptors in Australia today in here.
These are my favourites. I love all these found objects on the wall. 12 years is a very long time, I think, in anyone's life, and in my life I've been married since I saw you, and I'm now Anita Larkin. I married Eamon in '99, and I've just had a baby boy a year and a half ago. This is my baby boy Oliver. He's about 1.5 now, and he looks a little bit me, but mostly like his father. And I've moved house, and life has happened. And in my own professional art life, I've developed quite a way of working, and I think that shows in my current exhibition. Yes, I made bodily felt exhibition about the body responses to grief over my father dying. Yeah, so it's been quite some time since he's died.
I'm Anita Johnson, and this exhibition is titled Bodily Felt, and it's an exploration of body responses to personal grief using felt, hand-moulded felt and paper life casts. This exhibition is dedicated to my father, Tony Johnson, and he died of cancer about 2 years ago, and this started my journey of exploration.
I must say, and I suppose any mother would be quite aware, that it's very, very difficult. And trying to be an artist at the same time, having a drive to make things and be creative and not having that time to make things is very difficult, but it also brings really great joys, and I think I've developed a further sense of playfulness in my work that I had inklings of before, but I've developed that further because of playing with Oliver. Eternal problems of motherhood, I guess. But yeah, like anything that's difficult, it also has great rewards to it, so I have to keep that in mind. I teach felt making. I was making felt obviously for the Bodily Felt show, and I'm still teaching felt making and still quite intrigued with felt. Since then I've travelled to Hungary. I was invited to represent Australia in the World Meeting of Felt Artists, and there were over 100 different felt artists from all over the world, and it was very intriguing, the different sort of cultural differences between felt. And then I've also travelled to Turkey and learned their felt making methods there, so I'm passing that knowledge on. It's our oldest textile. It's before spinning and before weaving, and theoretically we were wearing felt when we lived in the caves as Neolithic people, and so it's nice to work with something that's got such a long history. The Persian armies were using it as armour, and it's been used in Genghis Khan's time very extensively. It's quite interesting. Also a lot of use of felt in ritual in different cultures. So yeah, it's not only a material, but it's also got that cultural grounding, which is interesting to me. Having a baby makes you very creative about your use of time, and all your activities need to be planned with the little one in mind. So I try to involve Oliver as much as I can in not the making, but the making, parts of the making of objects, and helping me clean the found objects that I'm going to use in an artwork, and so he does as much as is possible and is safe. So I do involve him in my making, but also I made a lot of the works when he was tiny, and he was a good sleeper when he was tiny, but not so much anymore, which has got its own challenges. And is now discovering that my studio is a very, very interesting place, and every time I open that door he's out there and he wants to play with all these found bits of metal and things that are a bit too dangerous for a baby to be playing with. It's not your cuddly toy sort of area. But yeah, he's very curious about where I spend a lot of my time. This fellow is a recurring image in my work. He's a rolling man, and a lot of my work deals with issues of journey or travelling in a physical sense, but also in a personal sense. I'm quite interested in replacing parts of the body with wheels and creating people that have their own physical momentum. This series I've made inside boxes, and in my travels in collecting my objects I often come across drawers or cupboards with boxes, and I wonder what's inside them, what has been inside them, and I've started working to build a life back into those boxes. And this one is the musician. In thinking about the musician, I'm thinking to enlarge his hands, because a musician is very much about their hands and their ears. This work is called Wollongong Air. It's a reference to Duchamp's Parisian air that he made, collecting Paris air and then exhibiting it as an artwork. And coming from Wollongong area, I decided to capture Wollongong air and exhibit it. This work is called Parrot Caravan. I've done a small series using parrots. I found a small mobile with tiny little parrot heads, and they had such a sad and forlorn expression on their faces that it intrigued me to make a story attached to that expression. And quite often my works start with the actual found object directly as the initiator of the idea for the work. So I found these little parrot heads, and this fellow is stuck in a predicament. He carries around his sky, he carries around his freedom, but he's attached permanently to his caravan. So it's a bit of a comment on the nomadic lifestyle. I think we tend to romanticise how nice a nomadic lifestyle must be, but in fact it's also very difficult. This work is called Gunship, and I made it thinking about how in our times war is often referred to as a game, and even in the Iraqi war, the images that we saw of that war in the format of a computer. So I made a gunship directly connecting the bullets and the people together. As every time a bullet or a bomb is dropped, there's casualties, there's lives that are irrevocably changed. There are two drawers in the gunship. The top drawer holds combatants, and the bottom drawer holds the civilians. I think this work is interesting in that most people approach it from the side and see a whimsical shape, but then when they get closer, look inside the drawers and see the people lined up as if they were in a coffin. There's a different side to the work. This work is called Lighthouse number 23. I made this work thinking about what a solitary experience being a lighthouse keeper would be. Also, I had these objects at the same time, and in my studio I have a pile of objects that I play with constantly, and some of them jump up at me and I decide to make work with them. So I had this box, and also had an idea that I wanted to make something with a light. And this work has got a little light inside, and it features the Queen of Spain on a postage stamp. I think she's probably as much a solitary figure as the lighthouse keeper, I would say.